Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to read the poem, The Torchbearer, that it's it's the third father story poem in Ghost Gear. I haven't looked at it in a while. I'm not sure where it is in here. I think it's in the middle. Yeah, it's dead in the middle. 36. Okay.
We got a candle flickering.
That's very nice. Very great ambiance. All right, this is The Torchbearer. If you ask, my father will tell you the story of building his first crystal radio. Night after night, after lights out, a sheet draped like a mosquito net across his bed, shadow creatures cast across the slapdash walls of his tent as he worked. First, a pair of hands flapping before candlelight, then a V of snow geese towing the floral print northward. Finally, a school of fish frantic within a paper lantern. If you ask, my father would tell you, when he finally finished constructing that radio, he stumbled upon a voice who told the story of a traveler and the world he discovered uninhabited by light, its people blind as cave pool fishes. When he tells the story of that night, he never fails to mention that though he pinched himself awake, he fell asleep, never having heard the story's end, and became in his dream the explorer, landed on a planet cloaked in darkness. And in the darkness, a rustling of creatures in the brush, the call of a child in her sleep, a star overhead, eclipsed in dangerous cold. Sometimes, before he thought me old enough, I'd ask my father, what made the solar system? He told me God gathered stones in a pickling jar and thrust it to the cold nucleus of the elements, our great obsidian peppered with dust. Sometimes, when I close my eyes, I can almost see him and search through the night for that voice, fingers delicately maneuvering the tuner's knob, the crystal's black longitude sliding east to west its brief radio range. But all he ever finds is static in the morning without sleep. All his adult life, he's waited for the turn of the page that will send him back to that sightless world. Eyes torches, hands turned to flame, the vestigial sockets of the desperate glowering forth from the pitch. My father, the first torchbearer to surface in ages. My father, the mystery between fire and flame.
Clap, 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 clap,
shockingly,
clap. Well,
it's also interesting. It's interesting how different it is.
Well, yeah.
Like where did this sheet draped in the slapdash tent?
Well, because that came later.
What do you mean that came later?
I forgot to tell that part. Well, I thought maybe I did. Well, okay.
Oh, well, you were in bed. You
but hide under the sheet with a flashlight. And I read science fiction. But that was later. That's when I was 11. With the
right, and I don't remember. I don't remember
the
resistor.
Radio from my grandparents came in that lasted until the battery ran out.
Right.
You know, maybe 6 weeks.
Of course, I might have just omitted that when I wrote the poem. It'd be neat to go back and look at the drafts and see what I cut and didn't, for the sake of just, you know.
Well, you're being a poet.
It's a story.
As a storyteller, I don't exactly tell precisely what I remember necessarily. I'm feeding off of what I remember to make a story. That's the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, the most of it is real as far as I can remember, but
some of it. Well, and it does change over time. The stories have changed over time. Because I know that you used to say that you didn't know what the end of the story was, and then I remember, but I specifically remember you called me or told me at Christmas or something. You were like,
that I had found
"You're not going to believe it. I found it."
Oh, I don't remember that at all.
Of course, you don't. Well, we don't remember necessarily the outcome either.
I believe you.
Anyway,
I don't. Yeah, I believe you, but I don't remember that at all.
This is
the human memory is not good on stuff
it's completely terrible on most everything.
Yeah.
Let's remember that, people. When you think you remember something one way, who knows how it really happened?
And major themes and so on, but not details. Yeah.
Well, that's that was episode 3 of There I was.
There I was.
My father tells his version of the stories behind Ghost Gear.
Behind the poem.
Until next time.